Hey, Cards fans, I'm Brad.
And I'm Aaron.
And you're listening to the Musial Suspects. Let's bring it down. We are not right. I am bringing down the wrong slider. Here we go.
There we go.
Hey, guys, this is tough stuff here, trying to manage the board and run the recording and try to make sense as you're, doing a podcast. It just doesn't work.
And trying to remain positive about what's happening during the season.
Oh, look, man, I am
rough.
sick. Oh.
I'm still trying to, remain rather positive, especially on social media, because, everyone can be, literally anyone can go on social media and be the keyboard warrior.
I'm telling you, man. I wonder sometimes maybe if that's what's going on in the country today is everybody gets that, I call it internet brave. My brothers used to say it when people get kind of drunk or a little bit toasted, they call them, they're drinking them tough beers.
Okay, so I don't know.
It's the same effect.
I don't know if I brought this up, but I may have told you. You know that article I wrote, the letter to Cardinal Nation, basically telling everyone to get over themselves?
Okay.
I may have had a couple beers that night.
Aaron, I am
just saying.
disappointed in you.
Just maybe I think I had two, but I think that was what gave me the courage to write it because I had been thinking about it and I had a couple beers and I'm like, no, screw it. People need to calm down. And I ended up pumping the whole thing out in 10 minutes. I'm like, oh, solid. I guess I should have one beer before I write because then I'm very good at just writing it all down.
Listen, I'm of the persuasion you shouldn't have any beers.
Probably not.
So, why don't you go ahead and hit those social media plugs, and then we'll dive right in because we have got a lot to cover.
All right. So, if you follow us on Twitter, it is at Suspects Musial. And then on Facebook, we are the Musial Suspects. So, if you just search the Musial Suspects, you could search podcast too. I think that helps. And then it should pop right up for you. Also, if you want to follow myself on Twitter, you can follow me at Aaron Arch City. Go find me going back and forth on whether or not I want to be positive or really pissed off. You'll see very quickly where I lie about this last stretch of ball games. So yeah, and then like I said, we've been talking about this for a while. We're trying to get everything situated to get back on iTunes, SoundCloud, stuff like that. We understand that the whole YouTube thing might be tough on your data limits right now, but everyone's got unlimited. Just deal with it, man.
Yeah, if you've got Verizon, you're fine because everybody's got unlimited. Yeah. I don't have unlimited.
I do have unlimited.
But I heard it initially, so I don't have to watch it on the YouTube.
Yeah, so it works out. What's really funny, though, is I will actually listen to our podcast, just in the background, and it's really easy for me to listen to.
Is it?
Yeah, and what's funny, though, is whenever I did my music stuff, I could not listen to my voice. I hated hearing me sing. When I hear me talk, I don't care. I just zone it out, and I'm just listening to stuff about Cardinal baseball. I'm like, man, I agree with everything they're saying. Oh, that's me.
What's the so the common denominator between the music and the podcast is you and your voice.
Word.
So what's the variable?
Sucking?
No, it's me.
That makes sense.
I bring in the silky smooth vocals, the nice sound mix.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, my vocals definitely don't have a silky smoothness or
you got
any
good.
type
hey,
of
you know what though? You got a great face for
mix.
radio.
Thanks.
So anyway, it's been a while since we've been on. I know that what we want to do is try to have a podcast every week. Sometimes it doesn't work. We almost had another break this week, but Aaron and I are recording in the middle of the day just so we can get it out there for you guys.
You're welcome.
The faithful 16. I think it's at 16 now.
Hey, Twitter's got 95.
95 followers on Twitter. And those of you that are on
really
Twitter,
isn't that bad for a couple months.
But if you're on Twitter, why aren't you subscribed to our podcast channel? You don't have to hit the notification bell. Just give us those subscribers. Mm-hmm. If you like what you hear, hit like. If you don't hit dislike. We're sensitive.
No, I don't care.
No, go ahead and dislike.
You know what's really funny is speaking about that. I had the same mindset when I did my music stuff, and I think that's when I kind of had this revelation. There's going to be people that don't really care for what you do, and that's fine because you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for the people who actually care. And I had a friend of mine that I knew in Mississippi. She posted something on Facebook. She was like, "Oh, give me a random piece of advice." And so that's what I said. I was like, "Don't do it for the people that hate what you do. Do it for the people that like what you do." And she's like, "Wow, I really needed to hear that." And I was it's a really weird revelation. There are people that will not care or will tell you that you suck. And guess what? They're not doing it, so
you can spend your whole life trying to prove the haters wrong.
Like, screw them. Because
And
they're going to be people
and
who
they're
are on
gonna
your
hate you no matter what.
Yeah, they're going to be people who are on your side. So you know what you really do to like make the haters go away? Just keep doing what you're doing and succeed.
You know what? And even if they don't go away,
Yeah, no, they won't go away. They'll probably keep hounding you, and it's way more fun.
you know what though? That might
Because
that
then
might,
they just get triggered.
that might be this. That might be the sign of success is a lot of hate. When you're drawing the salt from people, it's like
Is that how you know Dexter
must be-
Fowler's like really hitting the high points of his career
I
though?
I don't know, man. I was thinking about him.
I feel so bad for
And I
Dexter
know-
Fowler in the weirdest way. Like I still don't think we should have signed him, but
Yeah.
at least he's not
Well,
as bad as Chris Davis.
I had this later on in the podcast, but let's go ahead and talk about this now.
Yeah,
So I
so-
went to the game last night, so I got to see Dexter Fowler's at bat firsthand.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why they brought
What
him
section were you guys at?
372. So Big
Okay.
Mac land.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. Also, when we get to this point, I'll talk about this too. There are some really cool seats up in that area. Mine was not one of them, and I'll explain that later. But here's the deal. Dexter Fowler needs to do anything but baseball right now. Anything but baseball. I am 100% convinced after watching his at bat, because he struck out on 3. He check swing 4 times, and 3 of them were strikes. He got called for 3 check. I think it was 3 check swing strikes, or he check swung and it was a called strike. Either way, I think he faced 4 or 5 pitches. He had at least 4 check swings, and 3 of them were strikes. So here's the deal. He's pressing. It's gotten to his head. It's affected his defense. It's affected a lot. Man, I don't know. I know he's from Vegas. Seems like a nice guy. What I need from him, or what he probably needs, is to go do anything but baseball. Go play Fortnite for a week. Go
on the Phantom DL, man. Bring up O'Neal for a weekend. Have him just take some at bats. It's fine.
You don't even need O'Neal. You don't need him.
you
Just
have
let
Bader.
Bader. Let Bader rake. Let him do his thing for now. I know.
Darth Bader.
Darth Bader. Yeah, it was Star Wars night last night.
That was the best name. Like, they posted it on their Facebook page. That was the best group of names I've ever seen.
I didn't get to see all the names.
Oh,
but
so
Darth
great.
Bader, I mean, yeah, that's
Luke
like
Skyweaver.
that's good.
So amazing. I'm like, I don't even care who wins this game.
So here's the deal.
Because he won the
They
name
were
drop.
They were going around. They're like, "Are you a Star Wars fan?"
Yeah.
But like, here's like, if they would have asked me that question, I'm at the point right now where I'm like, I used to be.
I still am.
I was. And you know what? And I guess I am still too. But those last 2 movies, and I didn't even go see the Solo movie.
I've seen it.
It's not bad.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
I know it's not bad.
I thought it was gonna be one of, like, because I've seen the reviews and it was gonna be like, oh, this is terrible.
But
I think the worst part about the new Star Wars movies is expectations.
well,
I
here's
think
no,
everyone thought the new stuff was gonna be so good, and when it was like just pretty good, everyone's like, well, this sucks. I thought Solo was a great. I thought it was a great
Here's
time.
the
I had
deal.
a lot of fun.
Here's why Solo was successful, because they
It
took
wasn't
all.
successful. It's losing so much money.
Well, I know it's losing so much money, but here's why it was a good movie from a critical standpoint. They took all of the trash that they had, they threw it away. They brought in Ron Howard and let him finish making the movie.
If you take the movie out of the context of the Star Wars universe, it's a good film.
Oh,
But within the context of Star Wars, people are like, eh.
I wanted to see it, but I'm not. I'm done.
I loved
The Last Jedi
I loved
ruined
what
me.
they did with Lando. I think The Last Jedi was divisive, and I still have problems with it. But I think The Last Jedi was solid.
Why are we killing off Admiral Akbar
in the worst way possible?
in the worst way possible, most unsanctimoniously?
I understand that this has nothing to do with Cardinal baseball right now, but this is important as well. So if you've ever seen the How It Should Have Ended videos, you need to watch the one for The Last Jedi.
That's correct.
So
you know what? Let's just say it like that. Maybe
It's
whenever
the
I upload
best.
this,
It is so good. It's like spoiler alert. If you've never seen The Last Jedi, it's been out for like 6 months. Get over it.
Do you live under a rock?
Yeah, it's like you're fine. Whatever. If you're getting spoiled right now, I don't even care.
It's too
So
late.
Admiral Akbar gets killed in the worst way. They shoot the ship. Leia ends up doing some weird force pull thing
Space
through
Mary
space
Poppins.
and going back into the ship and surviving. But Admiral Akbar and all these other leaders were killed. And so
They had to invent a
in the
character.
How It Should Have Ended video, it was like right before that happened, you just see Admiral Akbar is like, oh, I suddenly have to use the bathroom.
He walks off,
And it's just like, and so, they shoot the ship, everyone else dies, Leia comes back, And instead of giving the whole thing to Holdo, they just give it to Akbar. It's like, in order of seniority, we're going to give it to Akbar. And then the scene where Holdo turns the ship around and light speeds it right in there, you just see Akbar, and he's like, do you know what this is? And they're like, what are you talking about, Akbar? It's like, he goes, do you know what this is? It's a trap!
And then he light speeds through the ship. It was great.
Funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. The whole scene with Rey and Kylo meeting, it just shows up with Obi-Wan Kenobi's ghost. It's just like, I don't remember my granddaughter being sold for drinking money. And it was like, what? And then you just see the ghost of Anakin Skywalker show up. It's like, what? You're a grandfather too?
Look,
this is so great. And then that should have solved all the problems in this Star Wars movie.
Mm-hmm.
All Anakin has to do is go, hey, man, I turned back to the good side. And Kylo would be like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. So you were able to be redeemed. So this whole thing is a terrible idea. It should be, though. It should be so simple. But it's not, and I don't understand. I'll tell you why. I wish that the
Rian
Force
Johnson.
Yeah, well, I've seen his movie Looper. I thought that was solid. It was really weird, but solid. I like the ballsiness. I don't necessarily love all of the finished product. There are things that I really liked, and there are things that I'm still like scratching my head about. And I've seen potential storyboards for episode 9, and I hate the way that's going, if that's true.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll link
Cardinal baseball.
We'll link the How It Should Have Ended video down in the comments.
You need to watch it.
And,
you'll cry laughing.
Or in the description. We'll link it in the description, and then you guys can just
laugh
and love it, and know that like they get it. And I am actually in favor of Disney hiring them to make episode 9.
What did you think? I was just gonna come out with a laser sword and fight the whole First Order. Yes, that's exactly what I thought was going to happen. You know, that does sound kind of awesome. Let's do it. Like that would have been so metal.
That would have been great.
He'd have been like, that sounds awesome.
All right.
Let's just go.
So we were talking about Dexter Fowler. So Dexter Fowler, I just think that he needs a break from baseball. I think where he's at right now is where Chuck Knobloch was when Chuck Knobloch
hang
couldn't
out
throw
with
to
his
first
family.
base. Do you remember that?
Oh God.
Chuck Knobloch thought the first baseman played in row 2 of the first base line, and that's where he would throw the ball every time.
Reminds me of Aledmus Diaz.
They call it the
No
yips.
offense, man.
And he's pressing, and he's under pressure, and he's trying to do it, and he's trying to justify his contract, which, was a little bit high. But if he ever comes back to his median, if he starts hitting that 260, 270 mark.
He had a very underrated year last year offensively.
Well, he had the hottest second half of his career last year. And they're saying that this year is modeling, the first half of this year is modeling the first half of 2015 when he had a really bad year with the Cubs, but then he had a really hot second year. So fingers crossed, I'm hoping for that. But I just think he needs a break. He needs to not baseball for a while. He needs to think about anything else. And I know it sounds weird.
He needs to visit our church softball team on Tuesday nights.
Yeah, we could use an outfielder.
Yeah.
And a hitter.
Hey.
But we won.
Hey.
We won.
Yeah, we did.
Did you hear that? We got our second win of the year, and I am just so happy about that because one of the guys that plays for us, I don't think he's played much ball before, and he got a walk-off hit, and it was just super cool to watch that happen. So, I mean, you know how we do. Whenever we win, we celebrate. So, let's celebrate. All right.
And that really went on for a while.
But hey, we got our win, and he got the walk-off hit, and like he rounded first, and he's like, "What do I do? What do I do?" And I was like, "Dude, you just won. You won it for us." And he's like, "Yeah!" And it was like pure joy. So it was great to see that.
He's like, "Wait, for real?" It's like, "Yeah, I ran very fast."
Yeah, Aaron.
I didn't.
Well,
I didn't have to run fast
Aaron
at all.
was on third base.
All I had to do was walk in. As soon as I saw it hit, like honestly, if the guy would have ended up catching it, I would have just taken off.
Yeah.
The way he was going, I don't think he would have been able to turn around and make a throw.
It fell just behind the second baseman, so it would have been a really hard throw for
Even
him
if he would have caught it, he would have probably had to dive for it to catch it or reach very far.
Right.
And I don't know.
To stop his momentum, and then on top of that, to make an accurate throw at home,
I don't
you'd have
think
been
it would
in
have
there.
happened.
I would have sent you too.
And
that being said, your dad was on second base, and that would have been 1 out.
Yeah.
Or 2 outs, but whatever. So
Talk
anyway,
about that slide into third, though.
that was a nice slide.
I slid right over the bag. I'm like, I am so glad I did that thing where like I slide over and then reach back
Yeah.
and grab the bag because I was like, okay, misjudged when I should have slid there.
So
I don't think I had to slide, but it was close enough to justify me sliding.
anything,
I had to slide, man.
anything but baseball for foulers is where I'm at. So
I kind of agree.
why not just give him a mental break? Go fishing in the Gulf of Mexico, or I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever he does for fun. Go to the casinos and
do something?
Yeah, whatever. What do you do in Las Vegas for fun? Because that's where he's from, is Las Vegas.
What do you do in Las Vegas for fun?
Yeah, if you're from Las Vegas, because you can't gamble if you're out there, because then you're poor and you can't afford to live in Las Vegas.
I mean, I don't know. I think his fat contract should justify a couple trips down there. Just saying.
I don't know. Give him a mental break. Y'all don't be so hard on him on Twitter.
I'm really doing my best, Brett.
Yeah, just give him a break. I don't know what spot he's in.
When he drops catches in right field that I could have caught, I get a little triggered.
This is not a leave Brittany alone sort of moment.
but
just maybe if we all back away from him, because ultimately I think we all want him to do well, right?
Yeah.
Am I right, Cardinals Nation? We want Dexter Fowler to be good.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
All right.
But at the same time, I'm also fine with Harrison Bader getting regular playing time.
Yeah, he looks good, doesn't he?
He's one of the best defensive center fielders in the game. I saw a stat. I don't know how legit it is, and I'll have to really do some research on it. But apparently, he has one of the top 5 sprint speeds in all of baseball.
Yeah,
dude's quick, and he's white.
Whatever.
No one expected that.
You know
what?
It's
like, wow, this Harrison Bader kid's kind of quick, isn't he?
I'm gonna move. I'm gonna make a motion. My motion is.
He's not that big either.
No.
He's like 6'1".
I motion that we now give him the nickname and bestow the nickname upon him of Point Break. Because have you seen those curly golden locks?
It's like in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Point Break. Dang it, Stark.
So anyway, I think I've been referring to him as Point Break for a while now. I think y'all should start calling him Point Break. Aaron, why don't you start that on our Twitter feed? Just hashtag Point Break.
Every time he does something cool.
Hashtag Point Break.
Oh, man.
All right. So let's go into this turn 2 that might end up being a triple play. Actually, I think it's definitely going to be a triple play.
Yeah, it'll be a triple play.
All right. So first thing is I don't know if you guys have seen this video, and it was a state championship, right?
I think it was to go to the state championship.
So it was a big, high-level, high-pressure situation, and the kid pitching and the kid at bat for 2 different schools had grown up together playing ball together, right?
From what I could gather is that they were friends growing up. But yeah, they went to 2 different schools, and so the guy pitching throws it in there, called strike 3, game's over.
His team floods out running straight toward the mound, but this kid doesn't. He runs to home plate.
He runs past the catcher, goes towards home plate, and just wraps a bear hug around this kid that he just struck out. And they grew up together. This is one of his best friends. And, I saw some comments on Twitter saying, like, oh, he's soft, stuff like that. Like, no. Screw you, dude.
You don't get it.
That's the class we need in baseball.
That's exactly.
There are definitely players that have played together. Like, people get traded all the time, especially in the big leagues. So that there are players that maybe have played together in the minors, played together in the majors. They have friends out there.
Listen, okay, I get it.
And I would feel bad for him too.
Al Raboski says this all the time. When we were out there and we were playing, we were enemies. That was the enemy. We didn't talk nice to him, and that's fine. But once that strike 3 was called, those guys were no longer enemies, and that was a good pitch.
Yeah.
So it's not like he went easy on his buddy. He struck his buddy out.
He's trying to win.
Yeah. So he did everything right. And then as soon as the game was over, he was back to being a friend with his bud.
Yeah.
That's not being soft. That's being real. So that was pretty cool to see that.
I think I remember retweeting it, and I was like, this is what we need in baseball right here.
So maybe we can get that. I don't know if we tweeted that out on our Musial Suspects account or not, but maybe we'll get that out there after this video drops so y'all can see it. And you know what, we're gonna do that until we can start getting cameras and I can get videos edited into our actual YouTube broadcast. Well, I guess we'll just have to tweet them out so you can see what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But the second thing was we went. I was watching this game live, and who hit the home run? Was it Ozuna or was it?
last night.
No. It was the little kid that caught the ball, but his brother didn't.
Martinez.
Yeah, Jose Martinez.
I don't
hit
think
the
it
home
was
run.
his brother. I think it was like 2 dads and 2 sons.
Yeah.
Just hanging out.
Right.
But they knew each other, obviously.
Right.
But yeah, like this one kid catches Jose Martinez home run ball.
Super
That's
excited.
pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
I would be like that if I caught a Jose Martinez home run ball, and I might.
And you're how old?
I'm 23.
And these kids were what, 7, 8, 9?
Yeah, probably give or take. But his friend there with him. At first you could tell he was excited, but after a while you could tell he was kind of bummed because he wasn't getting anything.
The camera kept going back to him, and he was like leaning up against the railing, and he just kind of flipping his glove back and forth. It was just to the right side of the batter's eye thing, right?
Yeah.
So
apparently a fan actually, I don't know if it was from a home run or maybe they got it at a different game, batting practice, whatever. Apparently a fan nearby gave him a ball.
Right.
And then Jim Hayes comes down a little bit later with a home run ball, or not a home run ball, but a ball signed by Jim Edmonds, Dan McLaughlin, and then who else signed it? Was it Hayes or was it someone
Jimmy
else?
the Cat Hayes? Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim Hayes, Dan McLaughlin, and
Jim
Edmonds.
That's pretty cool.
That's
and
a
it was
one
like,
of a kind
It's
thing.
like, hey, I'll trade you. It's like you can take this one, and I'll take this one. You just like, how's that sound? And it was so funny because his buddy was like, "What?
Yeah.
All I got was this home run ball," and I'm like, "Shut up."
yeah,
I could
but
just
you
see
caught
it in his face. I'm like, "Do not be mad right now.
Yeah.
Do not be mad right now. You just got a home run ball."
This is a great night, and this is the night that memories are made of. You'll remember this night for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. I thought that was pretty freaking cool.
We need a lot more of that in baseball. To me, that would be the coolest part about being a professional athlete or something big name, is to be able to make somebody's night just by being like, hey, here's the baseball, or hey, here's my autograph. Can you imagine that, though, being popular enough that all you have to do is sign your name and you can make somebody's day? I mean, that's such a loaded thing to think about, that somebody's signature could make somebody so happy.
Yeah, real, though.
But, I mean, if I had that ability, I would be doing that sort of thing all the time. And I'd probably be telling my agent, look, I ain't worried about making money off my signature, so if I get a chance, I'm going to sign things. So, anyway, turn 2, and then the guy, on the plate of first, the guy at third decides he's going to go home, and this is what we've got. And I'm going to roll the audio here. And this is Anthony Rizzo against who was it? The Brew
Josh
Crew.
Hader.
Josh Hader, the Brew Crew. So let me just roll this audio real quick here. There we go. It's loading, and here it is.
Here it comes. Called strike 3, Rizzo.
It makes me so happy.
Gosh, he's a baby.
I'm not saying that there's Cubs privilege. I'm saying that if you watch them play and you see their treatment, you might think there might be Cubs privilege.
Well, here's the thing.
Because this dude is all up in that ump's face. Yelling and moaning. And what's the best part about it? It was a strike.
Oh, it absolutely was a strike. And
painted the corner. You cannot be mad about that pitch.
We'll retweet this video and send that graphic out too. Mm-hmm. And you can see where the pitch was. Listen, I don't know. I think Anthony Rizzo's kind of a jerk. I've said it before. Like maybe you think he's a competitor, maybe whatever, but you got to get that crap under control. All right. And the other thing is too,
like,
it is
just go sit down.
It's
no amount of yelling you're gonna do is gonna change that call.
Now
Guess
I will
what?
say
Still
this,
a strike, bud.
I know. I will say this: you don't argue for the call that was called. You argue for the next call. But he was wrong. I mean, he was wrong. That was a strike. And as a matter of fact, if you got 2 strikes on you, that pitch was too close to be taking. All right. So I don't get this, and it's one of the things. Like whenever I pitch in softball, it's one of the things that
you can't say that he didn't swing at that because it was too far outside.
Right.
Because it wasn't. The only thing that he might have going against him is that he might have thought it was low, but look at the strike zone, bud. Yeah. That is right on the corner.
Here's the thing, and like I said, one of the things that brings joy to my heart when I'm pitching in slow pitch softball is the people that go up looking for a walk, and you throw 2 strikes, and they don't take the bat off their shoulder.
Oh, it's the best.
Okay, it's the game. The name of the game isn't walking. The name of the game is hitting. If you can hit, you're going to be all right. And everybody knows that Anthony Rizzo can hit, but he just didn't swing at a good pitch. It was a great pitch. you know?
Fantastic. Josh Hader
Just-
for Milwaukee has been filthy all year.
And
He's been throwing that pitch all year.
Yeah.
I know you have access to film. You should have seen that coming, bud.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, that film looks a lot different when you're standing in the batter's box. But I'm not defending Anthony Rizzo. I think he's showing his true colors. I don't know, man.
Not
Like
a fan.
I feel like if the Cardinals somehow worked out a deal where they could get Rizzo, he's not one of those players that I dislike because he's too good on another team. He's one of those players that I dislike because he's a jerk.
Yeah.
So
It's
I
not
would
that I
not be
don't
happy about
respect
him.
your talent. I just don't like you as a person.
like Lance Berkman, I hated Lance Berkman because he killed the Cardinals. But once he was on the Cardinals, he
like,
wasn't able to kill the Cardinals anymore. And
alright.
there was no negative to him before.
You remember,
Anthony Rizzo still be a
when
jerk.
We had Lance Berkman and Carlos Beltran.
That was pretty
That
cool.
was so awesome.
We had
We had two of the best outfielders
two-
of that generation.
We had
just
2/3 of the
chilling,
Killer
like-
Bees. We had 2/3 of the Killer Bees on our team.
And then you just had Holiday out there too, just
Yeah, that was a
screwing around.
strong outfield. That was a strong outfield. Anyway,
I
so
would make a bet that our current outfield's better. No, I'm just kidding. I'm so sorry. That's completely false.
better than them? No,
No, not at all.
no.
I don't really think that any one of our outfielders could stack up to any of them.
Is Ozuna a better outfielder than Matt Holliday?
Defensively, yes.
I mean, that's,
Offensively, I don't know. I don't think Ozuna's got enough of a track record for me
No.
to say yes.
yeah, but
Holiday is a career 315 hitter.
to me, that's the only close one because I know Pham is good, but Pham's not Carlos Beltran in center.
no. And Fowler is not Lance Berkman.
Nope. Neither is Bader.
Not yet.
Bader's going to be a completely different player anyway, but
No, he'll be a 15 to 20 homer guy, hit
Right.
260, 270, steal you 25.
solid player, right? So
Really
anyway,
fast.
that's our turn 3.
Woo.
All right. So Cardinals just coming off this 9-game stretch where they played 3 against the Marlins, and then 3 against the Reds, and 3 against the Padres. And coming into this stretch, I was like, oh, buddy, we could go on a 9-game winning streak. I mean, it was a legitimate possibility.
I think worst case scenario, you're thinking 6 or
Six,
7.
Yeah. You win
know-
2 out of every series.
Yeah,
That is
that's solid,
right.
especially against the competition at hand. But
Now, you remember early in the season in our podcast, we said, look, all the Cardinals need to do is beat the teams they should beat and then play
Yeah.
500 ball against everybody else. So we're looking at 6 to 7 wins being reasonable expectation against this group that they were playing.
Funny enough, I did post a tweet right before the Cincinnati series that it didn't really blow up, but compared to my normal tweets, it got a little more exposure. And it was very simple. It was the likelihood of the Cardinals completely sweeping Cincinnati for the entire year is unlikely.
Unlikely, highly.
So I'm really not ready for just the complete and utter lunacy that's going to be taking place on the internet the day we lose to the Reds.
right.
And we did, as I predicted. We're now only 9-1 against them. Whoopity-doo.
As long as we don't go on a 9-game losing streak, we'll be fine.
Here's the thing, though. Here in a little bit, we're going to be talking about this Cubs series. We're 4-1 against the Cubs, and everyone just assumes we're about to get swept.
Yeah.
We're
We're not going to get swept.
It's not looking great.
It's not gonna be
'cause
good, though.
Jose Martinez is out
Look, under promise.
for very good reason.
Under promise and over deliver right here. All right.
Yeah.
I'm not looking. I don't see us winning this series. I mean, I think it's a distinct possibility we could get swept,
Yeah.
but it depends on which Martinez shows up and who else do we got going. Flaherty probably,
I
and
have no
Waka?
idea.
I think that's where we're at because Weaver went last night and Michaelis the night before.
Yeah. Just y'all gotta quit wasting Michaelis, man.
Oh my gosh! Oh,
Dude throws
So-
another quality start. Oh, y'all are gonna score nothing. That's great.
remember that? Remember
Score
our
2
last-
runs after you take him out.
You remember our
Should have
last
gone
segment?
into the 7th. I'm still pissed off. He threw 88 pitches. Why is he not in the 7th inning? I digress.
Here's the thing. Last segment, we were talking about, oh my gosh, the Cardinals are going to have an abundance of good pitching. What are we going to do? Maybe, or not last segment, last podcast. And somebody had tweeted out that they should move Michaelis
So
to the
dumb.
bullpen. Fast forward to now, and what ends up happening? Because you remember what I said, right? I said
Mhm.
these are we're looking for solutions to problems we don't have yet.
Pretty much, yeah.
Everybody was like, Anthony?
Alex Reyes.
Alex Reyes. Anthony Reyes was
Very, very
way
long
back.
time ago.
Alex Reyes is going to
okay,
be
we're
like
tired.
this stud muffin, and he's going to do it. And then he tore a lat off of his rib cage or wherever those attach and had to have surgery to have it reattached.
And he's out for the year.
He's done for the year. We don't need to be looking forward to this and putting our hopes and dreams on what could be. All right, we need to look at what is. All right, so right now the Cardinals still have a pretty strong rotation. We're not going to have a pitching issue until after the 60-day DL with Wainwright, and even at then, I don't know if we're going to have an issue because whatever. We'll see where he's at.
Flaherty's pitching well. Martinez has been as of late, but still for
You
the
know what,
year
though?
is pitched well.
He
Weaver, I feel bad for Weaver. It seems like we're always keeping him in like 1 or 2 batters too many, and then we bring in a reliever and he gets shelled for another 2 runs. He didn't pitch great the other day, but he didn't pitch bad.
No,
He pitched fine. He
he-
needs to throw strikes.
That's
My
exactly
goodness,
what I was
he
gonna
needs
say.
to throw strikes.
He's
He's not going to get those He's not going to get those guys chasing those corner pitches that he was in the minor leagues. These are major league hitters.
And
For
they
the
have
most
video?
part, they have the ability to judge balls and strikes better than the guys in the minor leagues. If they're not swinging at those close pitches, you've got to pound the strike zone.
Right.
He has decent stuff,
hashtag the strike zone.
pretty much. You've got to be able to pound the strike zone, for crying out loud. Michaelis pounds the strike zone. He doesn't have a bunch of strikeouts, but he hits the zone. He has one of the highest ground ball rates in baseball. He has a pretty decent fastball, and he's got great breaking pitches. He can locate all of his stuff.
Well, he can throw strikes. You know what? And when you think back to like the Braves of the late 90s,
You know how many strikeouts
or
per 9 Greg
early
Maddux
90s?
has? You
Not-
know what Greg Maddux K per 9 is? 6.1. That's not very much.
You know what
he
he
doesn't
did?
strike out a lot of guys.
you know what he did?
Got outs.
He threw strikes.
Mm-hmm.
He threw strikes. That was his thing.
Now
Him-
let the record show. I'm not saying Michaelis is going to be the next Greg Maddux.
no, but
That's
he can
not what
be-
I'm saying. He's
but he can be-
29.
He can be of that ilk. He can
Yeah.
be that kind of pitcher, and that would probably behoove Weaver to be that kind of pitcher.
It wouldn't hurt.
I think too. If you look at it, and really, the most important thing a pitcher can do is throw strikes. Make the hitter hit the ball.
Weaver's got a very odd delivery to me.
This is
It looks like he's slinging the ball.
yeah. This is a sport where you're considered successful if you fail 70% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So by throwing strikes, you're forcing them, even if they're successful, to fail 70%
Which is
of the
really
time.
great because, everyone talks about the playoff teams and how it's like, 88 wins isn't going to make the playoffs. I'm like, I think it's great that the teams that are deemed successful win 59% of the time.
Right.
If you win 60% of the time, you know how many wins you've got? I don't know, but I'm going to do the math. So
It's, 162.
if you win 97 games, it's
Yeah, that's
60% of the time.
That's a team.
Yeah, if you win 97 games. 60% of the time, you win 97 games. So what you're saying is that you are not successful at 56%, but you are successful at like 57.5. You're splitting hairs, okay? There are so many games every season that could go either way. Have we lost a lot of games late? Yeah. Have we won a lot of games late? Yes. We have so many walk-off wins, considerably more than we had last year. That's a good thing.
Getting those games is important.
Winning by the third would also be really stellar,
Yeah.
but it just doesn't happen.
It's not going to happen this year.
But-
This team's going to have to get in the pits and be in a dogfight. And it seems like, and after going to Busch Stadium, because this is what I was going to say, after going to Busch Stadium, there's no energy. They don't have energy. Yeah, the conga line is fun and all that other stuff, but there's something that just spark. I don't know if it's anger.
I feel the
or-
same
or
way.
It's
I've
not
been
there.
to 2 games this year. I won free tickets to both, and we got screwed both games. It was bad. Against 2 very mediocre teams. We played against Minnesota and Miami.
Yeah.
I was at the game when Carlos returned.
Yeah. Well, one of the articles I had read about that whole situation is Matheny is getting upset because his players aren't being honest with him
About
whenever
injuries.
whenever they're not feeling well. He's like, we can only do so much, but if they're not feeling well, they have to tell us. I agree with them.
Yeah, I do.
But if your
I
players
understand.
aren't telling you,
I mean,
Why?
there have been at least a couple games this year just playing softball that I didn't feel great, but I wanted to play. And I feel like it's kind of the same mindset that these players are going through. It's like, well, I can't do anything for my team if I'm on the bench. And I feel like a lot of players are feeling like that. But at the same time, like, if it's really nagging you, are you going to be helping your team by being out there? Probably not. So, like, we brought up before the show, like, Ozuna's, like, dead arm. And you were saying, like, he doesn't throw the ball unless he absolutely has to.
He saves it.
That's something you should probably get looked at.
Yeah.
I mean, thankfully, it hasn't completely screwed up his swing. He's been on a tear recently.
Yeah.
He's batting really well.
Well, it's also
but
possible
throwing the
too,
ball, you know, he does seem to
that's
kind of short arm it.
That is a thing that happens, though. People get the dead arm, and they just don't have the arm there. But when I was watching him warm up in center field, like, he wasn't throwing over the top.
No.
He was flipping the ball underhanded and sidearmed over to Pham in center field. And that's something you don't do unless it kind of hurts when you throw.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit worried about his arm and whatever, but as long as they can protect him out there, whatever. What are you going to do? You know, it's not like you can put him at DH or something like that. And even if they did, the DH spot would be reserved.
That would be Martinez.
That'd be reserved for Jose Martinez,
Jose.
so he can hit and just hit.
Pretty much.
Um,
and then, so I want to bring up one of our Twitter polls here in a minute.
Okay.
But something that I wanted to pull up before that, I was listening to 101 ESPN, and they were asking, like, what's the biggest need for the Cardinals? Is it bullpen depth or is it a big bat? And I think it was like 60% said big bat. I'm personally on the side of bullpen depth because our bullpen has been
Do you know how I would answer that question?
calling the dudes up from AAA.
Like, what do the Cardinals need most? Bullpen depth or a big bat? Yes.
Multiple bats.
Yes. I don't need a big bat.
I personally,
They
I don't
don't
think
need a
they.
big bat.
Personally, I don't think they need bats. I think they need someone that can swing the bat.
Yes.
They have plenty of bats. They're not
Here's the
that
deal.
expensive.
Here's the deal. The majority of their offense, the past 9 games, have come from 2 people.
Martinez and Ozuna.
Martinez and Ozuna, right?
It's a staggering amount of their offense. It's like 70% of their offensive production has come from those two
And the fact of the matter
individuals.
is this. If the people who are in front of them don't get on, it doesn't matter how well those guys are hitting. You can't get RBI if they're not or RBIs. I hate it's RBI. It's runs batted in. Here's the deal. If there's one, what do you say?
It's an RBI.
Is it 1 runs batted in? No, it's 1 run batted in, so it's RBIs.
Yeah.
All right? Not runs batted in, run batted in, and RBI.
It's like what's being batted in? Runs.
Or
Run.
A run.
RBIs.
A run.
Yeah.
You done messed up, A Ron.
Pretty
No,
much.
I'm kidding. All right, so here's the deal. If
but-
the people in front of them don't get on, it's not going to do any good. Now, is Tommy Pham going to hit? Yes, he is.
Eventually.
Is Matt Carpenter going to hit? I know he is.
He's hitting well now.
Okay, I saw an
I think
interesting
he's got his average up to like 230. And you remember like less than a month ago where
he
it
was
was like
floating in
150?
He was floating in that Fowler territory. So,
Just be glad you're not Chris Davis. Batting 150. He has a negative 2.1 WAR.
That's
that makes
bad.
Fowler's negative 1.3 look not that bad.
No. Well,
And the difference is Fowler got a 5-year, $87 million contract. Chris Davis is still owed like $100 and something million.
well, here's the thing too about it too. Dexter Fowler is not your offensive centerpiece. He's a table setter.
Yeah.
You know, the idea of Dexter Fowler, I think when they signed him, was to have a good center fielder who could also bat leadoff. Why they don't want Matt Carpenter to bat leadoff, I don't know. But every year
'Cause
we
he's
go through the
slow.
same thing. Yeah, he's slow. That's it.
That's the only
Who
thing.
has the most-
It's hard to manufacture runs when you can't get your guy from first to third.
This is true,
That's, I mean, I get it.
but
at the same time, from the
who
leadoff
leads-
position,
who leads the Cardinals with doubles?
pretty sure it's Matt Carpenter. Isn't
Matt
it?
Carpenter
That's
definitely leads the
shocker.
Cardinals with. Who he probably has one of the higher on-base percentages too.
I think his OBP is like 340 something right now, which isn't great, but considering his average is 230, it's 100 points higher. That's pretty freaking good.
The thing is he gets on base
Yeah.
and he hits doubles,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all. Like, I know it's hard to get a guy from first to third if he's not fast, but when he starts out on second, that changes the whole equation.
Yeah.
It changes the whole equation. So Mozeliak is paying too much attention to the numbers and not what's going on in the field in front of him. Yeah. Okay? So Matt Carpenter, I mean, if you really want to dig down into it, I think as a leadoff hitter, he's like a career 290 hitter.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Why that is, I couldn't tell you. I mean, I'm sure this is all in his head, but whatever the case is if you have a hitter who's going to bat 290, why are you always looking to replace him in the leadoff spot just because he doesn't fit the mold of what tradition says?
Pretty much.
You know? So you put him on, and Jose Martinez gets up, and then Ozuna gets up and hits. You got something there.
Some of their moves do baffle me. It's like when you have a competent first baseman and try to turn him into an outfielder.
Right.
I'm still really upset about that.
Matt Adams is absolutely raking.
You know what's hilarious? Did you know that in the top 15? Yeah, the top 15 voting so far for National League outfielders for the All-Star game, there's not a single Cardinal in the top 15. Matt Adams is 12th.
Did you know that for the first time
Cardinal
in a long time, the Cardinals don't have a single position player in the All-Star game?
Thus far, no. It's terrible.
And you know what? Who is?
Here's the thing. There are people going, "Oh, Molina should still be the best catcher." I'm like, okay, he's been out for how long?
That's why Molina's not in there.
That still counts for production. I didn't vote him in.
That's why Molina's not in there.
I didn't vote for Molina to be the All-Star catcher. You know why? Because he's been out, and there are other catchers who have produced considerably better numbers than what he has in that amount of time. If Yadier Molina,
it's not his
in
fault.
That time, yeah. If he would have been healthy that whole time and kept putting up those numbers,
absolutely,
he's absolutely a good choice. But there are other people that were healthy for longer and put up better numbers. What do you want?
Yeah.
The only other Cardinal position player that I can see feasibly getting an all-star position is Jose Martinez, simply because of his offensive production.
Right.
But anyone who's seen baseball knows that's a terrible idea, because why on earth would you put him at first base in the All-Star game? Because that's not going to go well.
Yeah.
First off, he's having a tough time catching from guys that he sees every day. Let alone, it's like, God forbid this new shortstop throws a tail on the ball and it freaks him out.
Maybe having all-stars playing the infield with him brings his level play up. I mean, it's a lot easier to catch a ball that's thrown at your chest.
This is insane. Yeah. But, Colton Wong, defensively, yes, he should definitely be an all-star.
But he's not an all-star.
But he's not hitting well. So you can't say that he's good enough to be the best second baseman. Shortstop, if DeYoung wouldn't have gotten hurt, maybe.
On the team, he's not a starter.
No, probably not, unless he brought his average up a little bit.
Yeah, he'd have to be batting 270.
He's still. What's funny though is he's been out for weeks and he's still like third on the team in WAR. Mm-hmm. That's not good, y'all.
It reminds me of the Blues this year whenever Jaden Schwartz got hurt and he was in the top 3 offensive categories the whole time he was injured and just kind of picked back up. Nobody picked up the slack.
Yeah, it's like, y'all. It's like, hey, you know how you guys haven't made it to a Stanley Cup in how long? Yeah,
this is why you got. But I mean, at least they picked up. What's his name? Oh, no, it's escaping me.
I don't remember.
At any rate, they picked up another player that was up at the top with, because it used to be like Jaden Schwartz, Vladimir Tarasenko, and Alex Pietrangelo.
Yeah.
So they picked up one guy that kind of jumped in there and pushed Pietrangelo out, and to show you how good Pietrangelo was in these offensive categories and how not good everybody else was, Pietrangelo never pushed into. I think he pushed into assists, but that was it.
Yeah.
So for 2 months. So anyway, thing is the reason there aren't Cardinals in the All-Star game,
you're not going to
because
get
you don't have
You're
all-stars.
not going to get a single infielder in there anyway because everyone's been platooning. What would you put as Carpenter's primary position? First? No. Third? No. Second? No. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's only been one constant. Oh, wait. No, there hasn't because Molina's been hurt. Jerko can't stay at one position. Even Wong's not getting consistent enough playing time at second base.
You know who their most consistent player is? Jose Martinez.
Yeah, playing at first base. I mean, he's at first base.
Mm.
But then
he's
outfield,
sort of.
I mean, but in the outfield, I'm like, you're not. Dexter Fowler's not I'm sorry, buddy, but Tommy
No.
Pham's been okay. Recently, Ozuna has been playing very well, and his
But
average
that's recently.
his average is 286. He's hit 8 bombs. He's gotten good enough RBIs, but he's doing it now in the last couple weeks and not consistently for
He
the
hasn't been
entire
doing it the
year.
whole year. You can't expect people to vote him in.
The only chance that the Cardinals have to get legitimate all-stars are from the pitching staff. You've got Michaelis that's a legitimate contender. You've got Walker that's a legitimate contender. You've got Hicks because he throws 105.
Right. And if he's not in
And
the All-Star
that is
game,
it. Some people keep claiming that
maybe Bud Norris.
no, too
Maybe.
high of an ERA. There's better relievers. And I like Bud Norris, but there are considerably better relievers in the NL that I would use. And speaking of which, I found this out because I was just curious. The pitchers for the Cardinals, the relief pitchers specifically, this is upsetting. The current WAR for St. Louis Cardinals bullpen pitchers. These are the ones that are currently on the roster. You've got Hicks at 0.9, so not quite at 1. Brebbia is next at 0.3. Tui, Myers, Norris at 0.2. Gomber at 0.1, and Cecil at negative 0.4. These guys are currently on the DL that we had tried to acquire and or just randomly got hurt. You've got Leon, who is not coming back, from what I've heard.
I heard they just called him up.
No. I'm pretty sure not. He had nerve damage. He's on the 60-day.
Ponce de Leon?
Ponce de Leon. That's different. This
Oh,
is
okay.
Dominic Leon.
Oh, Leon.
Ponce de Leon was
He's
the guy that got brain
plunked,
damage.
Yeah.
Which I'm curious
I
to
think
see
he's
how he
back.
does because he's a solid starter. No, he's on the roster.
Right.
But he hasn't made an appearance. That's the only reason why he's not on here.
Yeah.
Lions, negative 0.3. Bowman, negative 0.4. Gregerson, negative 0.4. Holland at negative 0.9. I'm not great at math, but that's not good.
No, that's
You've
bad.
got one solid reliever in that group,
And he's like 15.
and that's Hicks. But Hicks, out of those guys, has pitched the most. He's pitched 35 innings. I guess that makes sense. He was a starter. He has the ability to pitch multiple innings.
No, it makes sense because of who's managing the bullpen.
But then Brebbia being next, I'm very happy with because I think Brebbia is a stud. If you
Right.
saw him last year, he was a stud in the minor leagues. I hate hearing on the radio how it's like, well, you got to make sure the guys like Brebbia get a chance because you don't really know what he's capable of. I'm like, yes, you do. He pitched 50 games last
know
year
exactly
in the
what he's
major leagues,
capable of.
and he pitched very well. He's had 1 or 2 bad outings this season. He's got an ERA still sitting around 3. All I know is that that's still a higher WAR than Norris, and everyone was super high on him last week. So, what is going on? Tui, I think he'll be fine. He's had a couple bad outings. He's got the stuff. He's pitched before. Again, he last year pitched 50 innings.
He's a middle
Pitched
reliever.
very well. Yeah, exactly. But he's a good middle reliever
Right.
when healthy.
Right.
He went
but
on the DL.
You know what he's
now
been
he's
doing?
back.
You know what he's been doing? He's been your 7th inning guy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with that, honestly. In
You
this
know?
bullpen, when he's healthy, he is very good. He has great stuff. But he went on the DL earlier in the year. Now he's back, presumably healthy, and pitched fairly decent. But then you've got Myers, who he's pitched fine, but his track record in the major leagues has not really instilled much hope in me. So I want him to get more outings, and I want him to keep showing that he's good. But as a starter in the majors, my goodness, he sucks.
Myers has perhaps the best intro music I've ever heard of a reliever.
What was his intro music?
It's the theme from Halloween. Because Michael Myers.
That's so great.
I was like, the only way this would be better is if he was a lights out closer.
But he's not.
He's not. That's the thing. But I mean, could you just imagine? Because if I were him and I were a lights out closer, when I came out to the mound to pitch, I'm wearing the mask.
I think Carlos Martinez should change his walk-up music to Wild Thing because he walks so many people. I tweeted this not very long ago. Carlos Martinez, in his last 2 outings, pitched 7 2/3 innings combined and walked 11 people. Michaelis, through 85 innings, has walked 9 people and then 1 intentionally. Carlos did that in 6.5 innings. What is going on?
Martinez is like, get on my level.
It's like, no one needs to be on that level, buddy. Because here's the thing. Michaelis in his last outing gets the loss. He goes 6 innings, gives up 3 runs, has 88 pitches, should have gone into the 7th. I've already said I'm pissed off about that. There's been at least 3 or 4 times where you should have put him in the next inning. He wasn't pitching bad. The offense wasn't backing him up. The bullpen sucks. So who on earth are you going to bring in to mop this mess up? It doesn't matter. Just let him pitch, for crying out loud. Guess how many walks he had? 0. He has walked 0 batters in 6 of his 13 starts. He's never walked more than 2 batters in a game.
So like when you look at Michaelis's stuff, and I'm going to make a point here, but when you look at Michaelis's stuff, would you say he's got electric lights out stuff?
It's better than people give credit for.
It's good.
He's got 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
I'm not saying he's bad. And I'm not saying
he's second on the team. He's second on the team in fastball velocity on average, behind Martinez.
But but what I'm saying is like when you think of knockout slider, who do you think of on the Cardinals?
Hicks.
Okay. When you think of lightning fastball on the Cardinals, who do you think of?
Hicks.
All right. When you think of a power pitcher on the Cardinals, who do you think of?
As a starter,
Yeah.
I would say Martinez.
Yeah. You Martinez, Waka, kind of your two.
Kind of.
So Michaelis isn't those things. He is not those
He
things.
could be.
But what he is he throws strikes.
He throws strikes for the ability to get outs.
When you get ahead,
If he wanted to be a strikeout pitcher, I guarantee you he could be.
well, if
His slider's pretty dirty.
he wouldn't be as effective if he didn't throw strikes, is what I'm saying.
No, that's why he went to Japan, to reinvent himself, and he
Right.
has, and he's a stud.
Right? So why not? Why not coach that into your pitchers? It's like, I know it's basic baseball.
Here's the thing, though. Maddox was his coach in Texas. He's already seen this dude's ability. Now he's back over. Why isn't the rest of the pitching staff going, man, you hit it out of the park with this guy. What do I need to do to get better? Do what he's doing.
Right. Now, one of the things I did see, too, this is a while back, was it was when they had the Cardinals 1967 team on the field.
Oh, yeah.
I saw Bob Gibson talking to
Luke
Weaver in
That
the
was
dugout
awesome.
about how to throw a slider.
I'm
And it's
like,
like,
that's-
yes!
That's
Yes!
amazing.
Yes!
It's like, yeah, he was like, how do you throw it?
You want to talk about the Cardinal way? That's the Cardinal way.
Mm-hmm.
Who was amazing? Let's ask them.
Pretty much, like, for crying out loud. I posted something on our Twitter, and it was asking, because I wrote this big article, and it was a big hypothetical article. So for anyone who has not read it, it's all hypothetical. It was just for fun.
Stop. Right there. We're going to lay out what hypothetical means. We are neither predicting nor saying this is what's going to happen. We're not even suggesting that this could happen. What we're saying is, if you were in this scenario,
If this did happen,
this is like the Kobayashi Maru in Star Trek. If you're not a Star Trek fan, that just went whoosh. So it's the winless one that Kirk cheated on in the movie to win. It's a winless situation. Anyway, it's a simulation. It's a hypothetical. It's not a real thing. What we're saying is given the fact that the Cardinals are in Game 7, who do you start?
well, in my article, the whole thing that I had written up was the lineup. Like, if it's Game 7, what's your lineup looking like? And I based it on people that we currently had.
Right.
And so I made the lineup, and then just to kind of follow it up, in this particular scenario, I had it being against an American League team, and so we were playing at an American League ballpark, so I had a DH, but I also put in there who would be my starter for Game 7. And so I thought it would be fun to post it on Twitter and share it around, asking who would be your Game 7 starter in this hypothetical situation.
Part of the fun of this being a hypothetical situation is how remote the chances are that it would actually happen at this point in the season. So,
and people were freaking out about it on the article, too, and it blew my mind because I don't think people realize that this is just for fun. Like, the whole first paragraph talks about how it's hypothetical, and apparently they can't read. It's fine. It's fine. You shouldn't have a computer, but it's fine. But I posted on the Twitter. I was like, who would be your Game 7 starter? And I put Carlos, Michael Wacha, Michaelis, and then I put other. Because, I don't think you'd really pick anyone else. Someone might be like, oh, Jack Flaherty's where you go, man. It's like, no, it's not. Whatever, it's fine. I can understand why someone might say Wainwright. if
That's
he
my
just
pick.
turns it around.
Totally Wainwright. That goes with my bold prediction for the rest of the year.
My favorite comment, though, there's a couple. My favorite comment was, the answer is Chris Carpenter. To which I replied on the podcast page, if only with the pray hands.
Yeah.
I was like, that would be legit.
I think
Come back from retirement.
I think they need to throw $1 million at him, make him a bench coach, and basically his job is going to be kicking butt on the bench to get people fired up.
You know what you need to do? You need to hire Matt Holliday to be the hitting coach. Hit the ball hard.
Yeah.
Swing bat. Like
Matt Holliday
he's so aggressive.
Oh, such an angry swing too.
Like, it's like he sounds like tennis players when they hit the ball. Just scream it. That's how it looks when he swings the bat. It's just so mean and aggressive, and ball go hard.
Yeah, it may not
far.
It may not have time to get up over the fence, which is why his home run numbers aren't as high as you would think for a player like him. This is because he just hit it on a line drive and it hit the fence in the air.
Gosh dang it! So this kind of reminded me of something in a weird way. So I saw this post someone made. I gotta start saving these. But it was swing and miss rate for fastballs, and it was most of the team, and they did it based on miles per hour. Mm-hmm. Like the faster it goes, like how many, like, if it's like 97 opposed to like 93, how much more often are you swinging through it? I just want to point out that Greg Garcia is a stud. His swing and miss rate on a fastball between 90 and 97 never got higher than like 4%. I'm like, look, that is amazing. You know what the difference is? Paul DeJong is like 22%. There are guys like everyone else on the team, all the good offensive guys are between 8 and 15%. And you got Greg Garcia at like 3.4.
Listen,
I'm like, that is amazing.
One does not simply throw Greg Garcia a fastball.
He's a stud, dude.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. All right, he's a very underrated player.
So back to what you were saying about this lineup.
Yeah. So I did.
Just run it down.
Okay.
Who do you got?
So I'm 90% sure I remember. So leading off, I have Matt Carpenter. Second, Tommy Pham. Third, Martinez.
At DH.
At DH.
So I'm assuming
Carpenter's playing first. Pham is in right.
Oh, you got Pham in right.
Pham's in right. Martinez is DHing. Ozuna's in left. DeJong is playing shortstop because, again, in this hypothetical situation, he should be healthy. He's playing shortstop. Sorry, Munoz. DeJong's playing shortstop. So that's 5. Jerko's playing third, batting 6th. Bader is in center, batting 7th. Then you've got Molina batting 8th and catching, obviously. And then Wong batting 9th, playing second. And I had some dude blow up on me because I did little reasonings behind why and whatnot. And this dude blew up on me because I had Molina batting 8th. And on my reasoning for Molina, I said, I don't need to justify this. That's the only thing I said. I don't need to justify this.
That was your mistake.
I don't need to justify that. Because, like, what would you legitimately do to make that lineup better? Maybe switch him and Bader?
That was the
what
only
would
thing
you
I was thinking of.
Here's the stupid thing, though. Why would you bat Molina in front of Bader? Bader's just going to run up on him.
Well,
You're taking bases away from Bader because if Molina can't go first to third, Bader can't get to second.
So in thinking of that situation, you're assuming that Molina's going to get on base. But the thing about Yadier Molina that I liked and I've always liked about him is he's been able to be productive with his bat without necessarily getting on base.
Yeah.
Right? He's very good at shooting the ball through the right side. He's very good at hitting the sac fly. So in that game, which I assume in that game that runs are going to be at a premium, I doubt it's going to be a slugfest.
Probably not.
I like Molina.
Given in this hypothetical situation that if you're going with the best team in the American League, it's probably Houston or the Yankees or Boston, and they all have good pitching.
Mm-hmm.
So, and
but
if you're playing against Boston and the Yankees, it's also the 2 best offenses in all of baseball. So good luck.
You know what though, the Cardinals have a couple pitchers in that situation that I think could shut down those offenses.
Funny enough, I did, as I was listening to ESPN Radio, I think it was on the Kevin Wheeler show, and they did their segment Ask Me Anything. And so I sent them the same question. I'm like, if we were in and I reworded it. I said if we were in a 1-game playoff, who's your starter? And Wheeler actually went with Waka right now.
Yeah.
They're like, I can't remember who else was on, but he was like reading the questions or whatever, and he was like, I think he was leaning towards Michaelis. He's like, really, you wouldn't go with Michaelis right now? It's like, no, right now I think I go Waka. And he was like, He's like, in this particular situation, I wouldn't go with Martinez because of the way he's been lately. But it's like, I think but they also said that if everyone's healthy, they go with Martinez. But where everyone is right now, he would go with Waka. So I thought that was kind of cool that they picked my question. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Follow the podcast. I tagged both of you in it. Like afterwards, I'm like, hey, they picked my question. So-and-so picked this. They have not seen it. It's fine. But the poll results, technically speaking, we have like 15 hours left on this poll. But as it sits, it was way closer earlier, but they're starting to become a leader in this poll. Like earlier on, it was very close, like 33, 30, 35.
Right. Because 3
Now-
people voted 33, 33, 33.
Yeah, it was no. I mean, this was after like 150 votes.
Oh, wow.
And it was like all 33, 32. I was like, yeesh. As it sits right now, there is a tie for second with Martinez and Waka at 30%, and Michaelis at 39%. I'll be honest. I personally would go with Michaelis for his ability to keep runners off base.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because he doesn't walk anybody. Now, that being said, if you're facing one of these premier offenses, they might get a couple more hits than normal.
Well, that's true.
But it's not like Waka's been like lights out. To his credit, one of the top 10 in baseball in home run rate. I was looking up just pitching stats in general when I did, because I wrote an article about why Michaelis would win the Cy Young. That went over well. It was so funny because everyone's like, do you know about Max Scherzer? And I'm like, yes. If you've read the article, there's 2 full paragraphs where I'm talking about Max Scherzer and Michaelis and how all these categories are very similar, but where Scherzer like legitimately dominates Michaelis. Huh?
Waka.
What?
You're talking about Waka, not Michaelis, right?
No, Michaelis. No, I wrote a new one talking about how Michaelis would win it, like completely. Not get votes, win it. And everyone's like, dude, like, no, sorry, Max Scherzer's for the win. I'm like, well, again, if you've read it, there's a lot where I'm talking about Max Scherzer. And the really big difference between Max Scherzer and Miles Michaelis is strikeouts. Yeah. And it's not close. Where Michaelis has a slight edge is walks. But even Scherzer doesn't walk a ton of people. But in a lot of stats, like a legit crazy amount of statistics, they are neck and neck in terms of how close they are. So it's not dumbfounded to think it's going to happen. One of the reasons why Scherzer is going to get more votes is because he strikes more guys out. He's that prototypical strikeout thrower, hard thrower, and he's got a lot of wins, which helps. Michaelis should have a couple more under his belt, but offense ain't going to back him up or the bullpen's going to screw it up. It's irrelevant now. But I had a point. But with this particular situation, I think Michaelis is the best bet in a playoff, but I can understand why they would think Waka. I think Waka has been more consistent because recently he has been on a...
He's been pitching really well lately.
Yeah, he's just been on a tear. I mean, but at the same time, I think a lot of that has to do with that no-hit bid. I think a lot of people got like really high on Waka when he got into the 9th again.
So, like, if I'm in the same situation, and this is going to sound like a cop-out, but it's not because it's Game 7 of the World Series.
Yeah.
Everybody's available, right?
Yeah.
I
Picks. You're going in inning number 1.
No. But I do start Michaelis because he throws strikes.
Yeah.
And when pitchers are throwing strikes, it changes the mindset of a hitter. And the hitter's like, I've got to be...
If they start from behind...
I've got to be swinging. I've got to be swinging is the mindset.
You can't go down 0-1 because then you're going to go down 0-2.
So you get Michaelis in there and you get him doing getting all swingy and stuff. Okay, yeah. But who you got waiting in the wings to come in after Michaelis? You know you got Waka and Martinez, and I think I bring in Watka, depending on how the game's going. Let's say it's still a close game, but, whatever. 7th inning, bring in Waka, have him start pounding the strike zone, starting to get people out with his out pitches.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you need him, then you got Kmart.
Yeah. So you want to hear something funny?
Did I just call him? They call him Kmart, right?
C-Mart.
C-Mart. No.
Carlos Martinez.
Yeah, but strikeouts.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know. I could be wrong on that. But
he's
at any
a
rate,
strikeout thrower, but he's not an elite strikeout thrower. He's like tier B.
well, he is.
You've got guys like Scherzer,
but they've kind of coached him away from it.
I mean,
He used to strike out a lot of people, but he wasn't going deep into games. But your game 7, you're pitching a couple innings.
yeah, just wipe him out, dude.
Yeah,
Remember what you did in the All-Star game?
reach back.
Remember last
let her
season
rip.
when you went to the All-Star game and threw 100 miles an hour and struck out like 4 of the 6 batters you faced?
Right.
Do that.
Yep. So, but that's where I would be on that.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
So one thing I would like to close with, because we're coming up toward the end of this podcast, is I went to my first game of the season last year, and we were sitting up in section 372, row 7, and I want to say seats 26 and 27, or it could have been 25 and 26. At any rate, when you look up in that section, it's in left field up above it. I think it might actually be Big Mac land.
Might be.
Or it might be just above it. But at any rate, because you can't see the sign when you're sitting up there.
Yeah.
So anyway, not necessarily bad seats, but those 2 particular seats in that row, I have never been to a game where I was more frustrated with everything. So basically, the seat I was sitting at, so when you come out of it's the very last little tunnel that's on the 3rd deck up there in left field, the very last tunnel. When you come out of there, they've got stairs on either side of that tunnel. And the stairs that as you're facing the field, or as you're facing the seating from the field, the stairs that go up the right go all the way up to the top, and the stairs that are on the left go up, and they cover rows 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then row 7 is right there, which doesn't seem like a big deal. But I was on that seat that was on the stairway on that side in row 7. So initially you're thinking, yeah, good seats. Good seats. There's nobody going to be sitting in front of you. Nobody going to be sitting in front of you either is what I'm thinking. You don't have to worry about the big goobs getting in the way and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Did you know that the majority of people, whenever they come out of those things and they want to turn, the majority of people turn right? And so if you come up those stairs and you turn right and they start to walk up, and then they stop and think, wait, what row am I in? So they walk up into that little short stairway that dead ends on row 7. So if you're not on row 7 or less, or row 7 and row 3, that's not the stairway you want to go to.
Mm-hmm.
So they go up there and they take 4 steps up, and then they just stop and look. Now, as you're sitting there, the way that angle works out is that blocks out third base, shortstop, the pitcher, and the catcher, and the hitter.
Fantastic.
Okay, and you can't even see the left fielder from the seats where I was sitting. All right.
Oh, well.
And the bad thing is, too, when you look out toward center field,
that is a major design flaw.
oh, it's terrible. When you look out toward center field,
that's why I like the bleachers.
well, yeah, but
That's
I had
why
a
you're
roof.
lucky.
I had a roof and shade.
Fair enough.
Anyway,
yeah, but I got a tan.
When you look toward center field, you're looking through the outside railing that is the very last railing on the fence, plus the little iron railing that goes around the thing, because you're sitting right there off the corner of that little tunnel thing.
Yeah.
Your view to center field is completely obstructed.
Sheesh.
So the double in the first inning, couldn't see it. Couldn't see anything. All right. Plus,
good grief.
So you got all these people, and I would say probably, and I think I got a picture on the phone that I can show you, Aaron. But the other thing that I ran into a lot of was that people don't know how to sit. They don't know how to sit.
I mean, why on earth?
Here's the picture. So anyway, the thing is like these people, they'd walk up and they'd stand there. Also, the people sitting to our right was like this big group of 10, and they brought kids, and they brought one girl who couldn't have been more than 2 years old.
Nice.
Doesn't even know she's at a ball game. She's walking around like with those pink poofy pants that go over diapers and a binky in her mouth, and she's like blonde haired, so she's getting sunburnt while she's there.
Yikes.
On those steep steps, people stepped over. I had bought some of Gus's pretzels, which are really good. Well, whenever they walked around that corner, of course, naturally we dropped our pretzels in the drink holder, which is at about ground level. Some lady in her flip-flops drug her foot across those, and so Terry's like, all right, well, we're going to move these, and she puts them in the next cup over. Well, the dude that was sitting in that seat that the cup holder's on the back of reaches back and puts his armpit right on top of our pretzels, so our pretzels were done.
Good night.
And that same group, like that guy that did that, he would stand up in the aisle and be like, all right, who wants something to drink? I'm going down to make a drink run. And he'd stand there for 5 minutes. So, like, when you go to a hockey game, the rule is, and they have ushers, you cannot go from your seat out while the puck is in play. Everybody moves at a whistle. There's ushers that stand in those hallways, stopping people from moving around. All right?
It's
People
like someone gets up.
No, yeah, they're like, you can't go. You got to wait here. They will physically stop you from going back up to your seat so you can't block it because hockey moves so fast and people get really angry. Hockey fans are 10 times more passionate than baseball fans.
Yeah.
All right? You know, hockey players are 10 times more passionate than baseball players because,
Yeah,
they literally fight. So anyway, this is a thing. People were rude. All right? And so this guy looks back at Terry and I and he's like, oh, I guess we're kind of blocking your view. Like, kind of like, oops, I screwed up. And he's looking at me.
And I'm like, yes.
I didn't say a word. I bit through my tongue because I wanted to be like, this is absolutely terrible. This was the worst experience I've had going to a Cardinals game in my life.
Yeesh.
And I didn't ever see an usher in our section. They don't do anything. They don't care. They do not care. So that's a problem. You're right. So,
Yeah.
like, one of the things I had wrote down on our little thing, and we were supposed to do this way back ago, is the buzz at Busch Stadium. And you mentioned this, too, because you've been to 2 games.
Yeah,
It's not there.
It's there. It was a bit of a lull.
The fans aren't excited. They're not.
I mean, I don't 100% disagree with them. Now, in some people's defense, when I go to a ball game, I get pretty serious because I'm trying to watch the game. I'm like, if something happens, I'll get into it, but I'm trying to watch the game. So when people are being annoying, it's like, hey, I'm trying to watch. If you could shut up, that'd be fantastic. And, I've talked with other fans before. I've had discussions with other fans about players, stuff like that. It's fun to do that. But at the same time, I mean, like, if there's 2 runners on and it's like a tie ball game, like,
You're like,
shut up.
Well, here's the other thing, too. Terry and I literally walked down the stairs, and I was like, I need to leave because I'm going to start screaming and yelling at people. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that guy. Because you know who's going home from the ball game if that happens?
You.
Me. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm just trying to watch the game. But if somebody acts like an idiot and, they put that little text, Cardinals are at issue and your section number in your seat to this number. They put that up there for like 2 seconds. I remember looking up going, I'm going to need that. And then it was gone and I couldn't remember the thing. So anyway, we walk around the ball stadium.
I want to say I saved it one day because there were some people in our section like a year or 2 ago that I was like,
this is unacceptable.
This is getting annoying.
So Terry and I walked down around, and then we came back and we just stood in standing room only from the 5th inning, or 6th inning on. We stood because we couldn't sit in our seats and watch the game. Blocked Terry, blocked myself. The people behind us just cussing up a storm. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Like the lady behind us couldn't utter a sentence without using the F-bomb as an adjective.
Nice.
That's terrible. So anyway, the thing is But
it reminds me of this terrible like Ron White skit. It's like I was trying to watch this show called Love, and then there's these 2 chicks behind me, and they're just jabbering. It's like just won't shut up, just jabbering. And I'm like, I've been waiting a year to watch this show, and I remember there was this guy next to us that was like, hey, could you guys calm down? We're trying to watch the show. And they're like, screw you, buddy. We paid our money. Except she didn't say screw. It's like we paid our money. We're gonna do what we want. It's like, and so I'm sitting there and I'm just pissed off. I'm like, I've been waiting so long to watch this show. They're ruining my night. And I just turn around. I'm like, talking during live theater as far as social skills go, it's like crapping in the street. You better mind your business. You better quit crapping in the street. It's like, I'll have you thrown out of here. And then it's like, if you don't shut up. Everyone heard that. At first, it was just a small disturbance around me. Very little people had to deal with it. And then all of a sudden, 18,000 people go, if you don't shut up. Whoops. It just like there's just so many people. Thankfully, I haven't had too many problems at Busch Stadium, but there are some people that it's like, I'm gonna end up getting in trouble for telling this guy off, but everyone's gonna clap when I'm leaving because I said something.
Well, the thing is like, I don't even know. I just want people to be cognizant of what they're doing, and that, hey, maybe there's other people in the world other than me.
Yeah, anyone.
You know what? So and this, I guess we'll kind of wind down with this, because I'm a little bit worried about the fan base too, because it just, the buzz wasn't there. That was, I mean, I've always noticed that the team seemed a little flat. That is bleeding over into the fan base. The fans are kind of like flat. They're like a week-old soda where the cap's been left off. There's just no fizz in them whatsoever. And there's always been a buzz at Busch Stadium.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at what is that?
I don't know.
All right. So I'm looking at this situation here. And these people, and I know it sounds selfish because I'm saying it about me, but this is just an observation I made. I can't be that person. I personally cannot look out for people. I can't make that person do the right thing.
Yeah.
But what I can do is make sure that I'm doing the right thing. So that's the same thing that everybody out there listening to this can do. You can make sure that you're the person out there doing the right thing. The problem is you've got to understand that this world doesn't revolve around you.
Yeah.
It absolutely does not. And if everybody looks out for everybody else, then nobody has to worry about being taken care of because somebody else is going to take care of them. Right?
Yeah.
If you and it's something as simple as holding the door, or like whenever you're at a baseball game and you're going to watch the game, you don't stand on the stairs. Maybe take a knee. Maybe stay in your seat until you got the drink order.
Pretty much.
You know,
we
just,
never
these
never got up until it was a half inning.
Absolutely. Maybe don't get up until there was nothing going on.
The
in the
only
field. That's a
time
deal.
I've ever gotten up in the middle of an inning is because I think it was a game. No, it wasn't a game we went to. I think it was a game that I went to with somebody. It was a day game. It was 104 degrees out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was about to puke.
Yeah.
I was
No,
like, I was not hydrated.
That's completely
That
different.
is the only time I've ever gotten up
whatever,
without
that's
it
great.
being a half inning.
That's fine. You know, I get it.
Otherwise, it's like there are people trying to watch the game.
it's a
I'm trying to
pattern.
watch the game.
It was a pattern, you know,
Yeah,
and that's it.
it's
You know, if
rough.
you're out there, think about other people before yourself. Put others before yourself, and maybe you'll have a little more success in life. Maybe
Public service announcement, guys.
Maybe
If you're at Busch Stadium,
you'll make the world a better place.
yeah, it's like don't
This isn't just at Busch
be
Stadium.
a
though.
douche.
This isn't at just Busch Stadium. This is your life. In your whole life, hold doors, be polite, be nice, be thinking about other people. What is going on that's causing this situation? You know, I'm not a naturally grumpy person,
Yeah,
but they had me like I was upset. And, you know, thoughts fly through your head that a normal human being shouldn't have until they reach that point. And I was at that point. It's like, I wish I could just kick this guy down the stairs.
It's like you think if I buried him in the desert.
So the thing is, let's leave him with that, Aaron.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about that, but let's just leave him with,
that's fine.
let's leave him with that, and don't be a jerk. Be cognizant of people who are around you, and if I do it and you do it, and if there's like 16 followers on this YouTube page, you know, or on this YouTube channel, if we each do it and then we pass that message on, we could actually start a movement. So let's be cognizant of other people. Let's do that. Let's hope that the Cardinals have a better second 2/3 of the season.
Yeah, we didn't even touch on the preview coming up, but it's fine. We'll deal with it later.
We
They're
went a little
playing-
long as it is.
It's going to be a rough stretch here. We're playing good teams. If we beat these teams after losing against the bad teams, I mean, I'm not going to be upset.
No.
But at the same time, I'm going to be like, where was this a week ago?
You know what? I'm not going to be surprised if we don't, though. I mean, this is kind of the make or break point of the season.
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks for listening to us, guys. Hopefully before too long we can get some video in here. You can watch us.
For sure. We get pretty animated, y'all.
All right, man. That's Brad.
And this is Aaron.
See you later, guys.